What's up? This is Jamal Baraka, GT Media Reviews, God Tier Media Zone. Today we're going to be looking at X-Men number 3, Jonathan Hickman, Lanil Francis Yu. This is the third issue of the Cyclops ongoing series. I know they put X-Men on the title, but to be honest, this book feels like this was Hickman. He probably went into a meeting, he pitched the Cyclops series, they turned him down, and this is what we got. So Cyclops is like my favorite X Men, but I'm not really a fan of this series so far. And it's not because the series is bad, it's just that there's better stuff out there. And um, House of X and Powers of X, they were it was one of the best series that I read this year. But the thing is that the Dawn of X titles are so hit and miss, and there's so many of them. I feel like the creative team or the stories that are being told are being spread too thin, and what we're getting is stuff that isn't necessarily filler, but it's just not all that great. So the draw of this book is you have Cyclops. He's teaming up with various mutants every month. You get a different team, and basically it's like a Marvel team up style book. Cyclops and whatever team he's dealing with that month. This month we have him teaming up with Emma, and we have him teaming up with Sebastian Shaw. They take on a group of villains that are basically old ladies, and there's some good moments here, but there's not really much going on. Uh, the comic isn't really action oriented. It's not bad. I like the humor in this book better than I did in issue 1 and 2, but to be honest, it's almost like a filler bottleneck issue. Like this is the story that happens before the real plot comes on. The standout moment for me was like Sebastian Shaw was trying to negotiate with these old women, and what it doesn't go out the way he thinks he does. He started talking stuff, and they splash him in the face, knock him out, and then start stumping his ass. So it caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting him to get beat up, and they take out Cyclops too. So one of the things I'm noticing from House of X, Dawn of X, Powers of 10, is that you have all these super powerful mutants. You have these Omega level characters out here, but in almost every encounter they have with the humans are actually able to overcome them. So I don't know if this is like a meta commentary on you have Magneto on the one hand saying these characters, the mutants are basically gods. We are your gods now. But the humans basically get over on them like every time. Like looking at this page, you see Cyclops get um, basically get just put down by some 80-year-old ladies or whatever using uh, basically tactics that you would see from like Poison Ivy if this was a DC book. So you have Cyclops and the X-Men getting beat up by old people who basically infiltrate Krakoa. They're trying to get samples to take back to the rest of the world, and their overall plot is that they want to lower the population of the human race. We've seen it before. It's not really something that's out of the norm for these plant-based villains, but what works, the humor works. I laughed a couple times. I got a chuckle out of different spots in the book, like just the fact that these people are old, and it's like, okay, well, and it's just kind of absurd. Some of the events that happen in the book. Uh, as far as the art, not really blown away. Most of the book looks kind of bland. The cover's bland. The art is kind of bland, other than a few panels. It's one this comic is the equivalent of, let's say, somebody sends you a message and it's like LOL, but instead of really laughing out loud, what you do is you just smirk a couple times. It's not bad. It's serviceable. If you're collecting the book, this book wouldn't stop me from wouldn't take it off of my pull list, but it's not really doing anything to make me more invested in the series. It's just another diversion, another one-off story. So I don't know what Hickman's plan is for this book, but I hope that it starts to come together a little bit more. My pull list is kind of expensive now. and I'm looking for areas to trim the fat. I really didn't want to trim the fat with the X-Men titles. I prefer to keep reading these books, but I'm not really blown away by any of them. The best of the bunch is X-Force, and I may stick with that one. I think Fallen Angels is gonna be taking a hiatus and switching over to Hellions, and that looks interesting. But I just want these creative teams to shine. This seems um, like more of a tune up for Hickman. Like he's has some. This is he wants to keep active, but he's not really putting his best effort forth with this title. I've seen better from him. He had one of my favorite books of the year where the X-Men went into space and all get murdered, and that book was great. But this one here, it's not bad. I wouldn't recommend it unless you were getting a trade. This is like just something like if this was an anthology, and one of the issues that was in the anthology, it wouldn't be bad, but as a single issue, I wouldn't pick it up. It's not really worth it. On a scale of A through F, I would have probably gave this a C plus or B minus. Uh, Hopefully next month we get a story that's more substantial. Again, Cyclops is great. Emma Frost has some great moments. She has a really cool, funny exchange with Jean Grey, uh, which is awkward because they both share the same love interest. That's one page out of the book. Seeing Sebastian Shaw get stumped by old ladies is funny. Uh, the villain concept is interesting. Another thing about these books is you reading them and you picking them up. They $3.99 each. So I read this book in about 5 minutes, and this is a general complaint. I read this book in about 5 minutes, and I'm out of $4. So it's like, was it really worth $4? And that's the question I ask myself with every review, every week when I go to my comic shop. The books that seem to be more substantial to me, like the DC Black Label books, those are like $6.99, but then those books are like 48 to 64 pages. So it's like, and they're like bigger format. So I don't have one in front of me right now because I can't put it on camera. But like I just finished reading Harleen, and the book was amazing, and I read that from cover to cover, and it's like it was worth my money. This right here, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And I hate feeling like this because this is my thing. I read comics, I review comics. I spend a lot of time and energy in comics, whether I'm doing my blog or whatever. I mean, I've shown a couple pages here, and it's like, okay, well, this doesn't look bad, but it doesn't really look great either. And let me stop harping on this. So I gave the rating. The book isn't bad. If you want to, if you're deeply invested in the House of X, Dawn of X line, check it out. For everybody else, skip it. You can check out my blog at gtmediareviews.com for my written reviews. Just finished Harleen #1. I may actually record a video on that one. That was a really good book. And or you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook. I'm always on somewhere during the day. So if you need to contact me or you have a suggestion for a book I should be reading, just check me out on social media at GT Media Reviews. Check out my blog and subscribe. I need you. I need your support. Thank you and have a great evening. Bye.